Hello, I'm Anawiltus, and today I will be going over some basic concepts related to power scaling. But first, what is power scaling? Well, to put it simply, power scaling is the act of comparing multiple things in order to determine which would perform better in certain situations. Now, I understand that the use of the terms things and certain situations is rather vague, but this is indeed my intention in this definition so that the definition can grasp the full scope of the activity categorized as power scaling. However, there's much more depth and nuance to power scaling than can be carried across with that rather broad definition. My use of the word things can be substituted for individuals, vehicles, weapons, nations, ideologies, organizations, techniques, and a great many more things that would be too inconvenient to list at this time. Meanwhile, certain situations can be fights, athletic competitions, cooking contests, intelligence tests, etc. So, now that we know what power scaling is, let's discuss how to do it, the methodology of power scaling. Now, ideally, power scaling is an evidence-based field of study. In other words, the more evidence one has for one's assertions while power scaling, the more weight one's opinion carries. For example, when comparing how much weight two weightlifters can handle, it is better to find out how much they each have successfully lifted in the past than to make rough estimates based on appearance. Therefrom, it can be understood that power scaling requires a degree of objectivity. Before one can make a true statement, one must believe that statements can be true. This does not sit well with many of today's philosophers, but that's an issue for another time. Now, typically, there are a few categories of evidence used for power scaling. The most prominent of these is feats, the reliably known accomplishments of that which is being power scaled. One example would be witnessing a martial artist break wooden boards. The evidentiary strengths of this is that since it is something that is well known to have happened, it can only be disproven by finding contrary evidence, such as finding out that the martial artist was actually breaking boards made of styrofoam that were painted to look like wood. Secondary to feats is the category of statements, that is to say, information on capabilities from a secondary source. For example, a man comes to town offering to sell a cure to a common disease. Others arrive with him and give testimony authenticating the efficacy of the cure. However, since you have not seen the cure in action, your decision to purchase the cure depends on how much trust you place in the statements of those that have come to town. Therefore, statements have varying degrees of value in power scaling, and each must be carefully assessed for its reliability. Finally, there's one more category for power scaling, used especially for comparing things originating from works of fiction. Offer intent. Any form of communication intends for certain information to be transferred. Some of this information may not be explicitly expressed and may occasionally depend on context, implicit interpretation, or may even be lost due to accidental miscommunication. This information is known as offer intent, the message that the offer was attempting to communicate to the recipient. For example, a character in a movie makes a statement declaring his abilities. Another character reacts to the statement but does not explicitly deny it. However, the script of the movie makes it clear that the denial is implicit. Now, it is worth noting that an author's original intent when producing a work can be different from that same author's interpretation of the work after some time has passed. Therefore, information regarding author intent contemporary to the production of a work is generally valued more than later interpretations. But it is also worth noting that retroactive continuity can also play a part in this. When that happens, the work is treated as two for the purpose of power scaling, one with the original continuity and one with the revised continuity. Now, there is more to power scaling methodology than categorizing evidence. There is also a need to use evidence that is internally consistent. Runners might be faster on some days than on others. To determine who is most likely to win, it is necessary to analyze performance in multiple races in order to get a precise data set. Additionally, a common method of power scaling is determining the performance that two individuals would have against each other by comparing their respective performance against a third party. In the end, there are many different ways to power scale, but I do not intend to discuss them all too deeply, as that would be against the spirit of this video. So far we have discussed the what and the how of power scaling, so now let us move on to the why. Why power scale in the first place? What benefits does it bring? Well, I personally do it as one of my many intellectual pursuits, but there are a myriad of other reasons that power scaling is so popular. In diplomacy and politics, it is used to maintain a realistic grasp on the balance of power. In sports, it is used to set goals and to calculate likely winners. In business, it is used to estimate a company's ability to compete in the market. But its most explicit use comes in the discussion of fictional works, where it is used to acquire a more full and consistent understanding of a work and how it compares to others, and oftentimes is also used as a form of entertainment in itself. These are the basics of power scaling. So that was the end of my brief discussion about the basics of power scaling. Now I know that it in no way is complete or comprehensive, and that there are many different things that I didn't talk about, such as debating and logical fallacies, etc. And if you'd like me to talk about those things, please do tell me in the comments below. If you think I'm wrong about something, please tell me so that I can correct it. And if there's something else that you think is very basic to power scaling that is worth discussing as such, then also tell me so that I can make an addendum video talking about various other basics of power scaling. That would be very important. I do like getting a lot of feedback. Just try to be respectful. But if you would like to discuss power scaling with me personally, I am available on Discord and on Skype, so please send me an email and we can maybe set up a meeting. That's just it, really. Thank you all for watching my video. Please leave a comment if you've got something to say. That'd be nice to hear. Throw a subscribe my way, you know, if you'd like this video. Maybe you like other videos of mine. So anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will be seeing you all next time. Anawiltos over and out.